are back. What's up? It's tea time with Robyn. I hope you got your tea. I hope you got your time. We're back. We're back. We're back. If you don't know, we are doing this off season every other week. So hopefully you are tuning in and understanding that, we need some time off too. But we're back and we're refreshed and we're here to talk to you guys about the football, the Buffalo Bills football, and our takes. What's up, Robyn? How you doing?
I am doing, girl. I'm doing, but it seems like forever since I talked with you.
I know,
So the
right?
2-week thing is okay, but I get it. We're all busy. This
Yeah.
time of year is crazy for
It is.
everyone. It does, it doesn't matter. So it's good that we have to prioritize, honestly, what we have to do in the summertime,
Mm-hmm.
with balancing it with everything else. But life goes on, the NFL goes on, and so we still have stuff to talk about,
We
right?
do. We do. So let's get into it. Let
Let's
me
do
see what the notes for first. Let's talk about something that happened in the Bills organization. The play-by-play, John Murphy retired from play-by-play, and give me your thoughts.
Well, they're complicated. Uh, yeah, they are. They're complicated. John Murphy, for you, which I find interesting when we were talking before the show started, was the guy that introduced you to Buffalo Bills football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he was kind of like everything else was centered around him,
Mm-hmm.
right? Hi, T and Robyn. Hi. Um, so for you, your perspective of him is much different than, say, old folks like me who listened to Van Miller for eons. And John Murphy came in, and you could hear in his voice his own independent passion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what you liked about him, right?
Yeah. I mean, when it came to, like, I don't get me wrong, I did hear the guy before John C. I don't even know, like,
Van Miller.
Van Miller. I
Van
know, I
Miller.
knew, right, I knew who he was. I knew, like, he had this powerful voice, like he had his own rhymes, like he was like he had it. But no offense, I was so used to, like, he was on his tail end. And
Right.
so Murph was the guy that I like
Right.
when it comes to Buffalo Bills, the voice, it was John. It was him.
It's absolutely, the sound is so important as you become a fan and you listen to play by play. The sound of their voice,
Yeah.
it becomes ingrained in your mind. And the way that John Murphy would say touchdown
Yeah,
Buffalo,
yes. And
something
then,
that is
like,
there.
I couldn't do it, but like John puts you in the seats and you just seem like you just close your eyes and you were just right there. And
Right.
now moving forward, and I'm gonna go move forward, but I'm gonna go backwards. Now what Chris voice is just, oh my God, I can't even explain it. It's just beautiful. Like when
It
I
is.
tell you he puts you in the play, in the scene, like his voice, his out, like his tone, his range, like you don't need to go find anybody else because Chris stepped right into that role. It was
Please.
it was so smooth, Robyn.
Oh, it was. And it happened. Think of this. It happened quite suddenly
Yeah,
because John had a stroke
yeah.
and Chris had to step in,
I was listening to One Bills Live, and I guess it happened either that day or that night or something.
Mhm.
And he was just talking to Steve Tasker and saying, "Yeah, I'm doing a play-by-play tonight. John had unfortunate accident, whatever." Not trying to tell us what's going on, and I'm just like, "Wow, okay." But when it was not a misstep. It was like it was just so,
Automatic.
yeah,
It
right.
stepped right
So,
in.
but
I
going back, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to add that I remember Chris Brown talking one time about, because he's experienced. The reason that it went so smooth is
Mm-hmm.
he's experienced. He called UB football.
Yeah. Yep.
So he's got experience. It's not like he
Absolutely.
experience at all. And I remember him saying in an interview that this was kind of a lifelong dream,
Mm.
that when he was a child, that this was like, I want to do that, right? Like there's passion there about doing it. So he this for him is like living the dream.
I would love to have Chris on the pod. Ooh.
Oh yeah,
Ooh.
he's so
I might,
busy,
I
but
might, I might just, it's, off season. Hey, what are you doing if you're not going to
dude, come
Paris?
on over and talk to
Right.
us. He is so full. And this is a guy, I just have to say, I love Chris Brown. Um, there's rarely a time that he has a take that I disagree with.
Yeah. He's
Very,
passionate too. Oh my God. He gets passionate on One Bills Live now. He
yes, he
does.
does.
I
And I
love
love
it. But then he has to come back from commercial break and say, I have to apologize.
I was on a rant.
But I love it.
That's what I love about him.
Because they take turns. Like it could be Steve Taster like the next hour. So I really love, and no offense to Murph, no offense to John at all.
No,
I really like the team of Steve Taster and Chris Brown because they play off each other really, really well.
dude.
And he's an ex-football player. He's an ex-soccer player. Like they get it.
They do.
I love it.
You can see that the relationship between them is very solid because
Yes.
they can bust on each other all the time.
Absolutely. But going back to Murph
Yes.
and because not everybody was a fan, right? And we spoke about it as well. Not everybody was a fan of his play-by-play. They thought he was a homer. Some people thought he was dry. I mean, coming from this iconic person and going to Murph, and people like, I don't feel like this. So you're gonna have. I don't like to call them haters. You're gonna just have people that just didn't like it, right?
Right. It
So
didn't resonate, but
yeah.
we're glad that he's doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously,
Absolutely.
he's out and about, and they sort of implied that he might have some role in the future.
Right.
Whatever that is. Well,
I'm glad he's talking. Hell,
oh,
coming from a stroke, although we know the voice, right? And
mhm.
we hear the voice now, how it sounds. It could have been worse. And thank God it wasn't, So
Exactly.
I'm happy to hear that he's on
Bless
the
him in his recovery.
Yeah. For sure. But let's talk about the fact that they're in a search for a play-by-play when you have Chris Brown's amazing voice, and you shouldn't be searching. Your search is over. Like,
Can we just stop this ridiculous nonsense and put the guy in the job that should be there?
right?
Go Chris Brown.
Absolutely, Team Brown here.
Team Brown.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes, we're going to move on to the mini camp that's just started. Ended actually. It started last week. And before the mini camp happened, they signed 12 undrafted players. I think one of them was from UB. And I think the Bills try to do that. I think they try to reach out to the hometown players and get them into or to fulfill their dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why not? Why not have a guy?
Cam Lewis.
Boom. Absolutely. You never know.
He just worked his butt off and constantly finds himself on the roster.
I just seen they also signed a wrestler. Was the Olympic wrestler yesterday.
Is anybody surprised?
No.
Sean McDermott loves his wrestlers.
Okay. Yeah, right. She's like, that's a surprise.
To be said for that, because I think that cross training and the mental discipline that's required in wrestling, the mindset and all of that goes with it, I think that lends itself well to becoming a professional in the NFL.
Yeah, because you have to mentally, like, you can't eat. Right, you have to meet that weight for competition. Right. So, I understand it. I totally understand it. But let's stick to
To the
this
rookie minicamp.
rookie minicamp.
What did you think about it?
Well, I like the fact that Keon Cohn knows that there's this parade and this whole thing surrounding him. He's very self-aware. And I
He
love
is.
that because he's like, I know there's a lot of pressure on me per se. Because
Mhm.
I don't think the Buffalo Bills are putting pressure on Keon Coleman to come in here and take the wide receiver one. I don't think that's what it is, but he understands
Mhm.
that this might be a gathering of wide receivers that need to put up numbers because we removed our number one wide receiver. But I think he understands that the media is really searching for and grasping on everything you say, from the bubble jacket to the cookies
The
to, you know
cookies
what I
and
mean? So
candy.
it's a circus around him. But I like what he said. Like, I'm gonna put my head down and I'm gonna work. Make
Mhm.
the main thing the main thing. I like that.
Mhm.
Make the main thing the main thing. He
Mhm.
gets it. He
He
gets it.
does
And I
get
like
it.
it. What's your take on Keon Coleman?
I just write down the list of yours. Boom, boom, boom,
Mhm.
boom, boom. The dude is very comfortable in his own skin. That's
Oh,
what I wrote down when I
to be young, Robyn, to be
yes,
that young.
yes, yes. He's very self-aware, as you said. Um, I also like his size for one thing.
Oh yeah.
And that was what I was going to bring up and ask you about because I find this interesting, the tendencies in terms of who they're drafting and who they're bringing in for camp. Big, big, big. So what's up
Yes.
with that? What do you think is
I think that, when Sean McDermott came in, remember he called them the Smurfs because
yes.
he had Cole Beasley, he had Jim
Oh,
Brown, he had someone else I can't
John
remember.
Brown
John
and
Brown, yes.
yeah, and
Somebody else he had.
Cole Beasley.
Yes. And another person I can't remember. Isaiah McKenzie and oh my God. Whatever. They were the Smurfs. And I think what they're trying to do now is just to be the bigger wide receivers, right? I want these bigger guys, these guys that can catch the ball, the 50-50 ball if Josh has to put it up there. I mean, I know the separation is what it is. I know a lot of people don't like the fact that Keon Coleman can't separate. But
That's and don't you think that okay, woo, somebody decides that he can't separate. But I look at stuff, I look at film and I look at him and I see a guy, I don't know that I would say he can't separate.
I mean, I also seen the fact that someone kind of, and not saying that he is this guy. They said, what's the guy on the Bengals? Chase. What's his name? Chase. Oh my God, why can't I think of the guy, the name on the Bengals wide receiver? It doesn't matter. But they said that he also, when he first came into the league, he couldn't separate either. Now, if he could be half of that guy, I'm good.
They
So
also said that Josh Allen was never going to be accurate.
exactly. So I mean, let
Give
the
me a break.
let me see what the guy can do in his first year. Okay, let me see what he can do, and then from there, then we could talk. Then we could talk.
Exactly. And I believe that the size issue, and I was curious to know what your thoughts were about that, because I would bet that Josh had a lot of input in
He's
terms
six
of
four.
he's 6'4", and just look at the go down the roster of the guys that they brought in. They're big
Yeah,
dudes,
6'4", 230. I mean, he's a big guy.
big, and like a tight end, big, right?
Yeah, and you know what I'll say this: like going against some of these corners, he's going to be a big wide receiver. Going
Yes,
against Gardner, what's his name, Sauce Gardner at the Jets, he's a peon. I'm not saying he's no disrespect to him. I'm saying he's a small frame type of a corner, and if you have a freaking 6'4", 230 going against this guy, I'm going to pick my guy all day. I'm
exactly.
gonna pick that 6'4", 230
Big.
guy all day.
That's the trait. Big,
And he's a
physical.
rookie at the time. He has not put on any muscle. He hasn't, like, he's still growing. So
Yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
don't know. I like the pick. I mean, there's a lot of people out here trying to convince other Bills fans. I'm not even convincing them. They're probably like, I didn't like the pick. I don't think he's going to be, the guy that's going to come in here and take that Diggs role. And I don't think that's what he is aimed to do this year.
No,
I think
because we're going to talk about this later, but this offense is not going to look the same. Okay,
no.
we have an off season for Joe Brady to go ahead and start putting in his own offense.
Yeah,
You
he's
didn't
going to
do that
mold
in the
it.
middle of the season. It's not going to
Yeah.
look the same.
And then not even that, it came out that he was in the playbook of Ken Dorsey. So he was in that playbook trying to figure out, no, that's not working. That's not, so he only was limited to what he was limited to.
Right. So this is all his thing. And he's talking to Josh, right? And they're talking about, okay, what kind of wide receivers do you want?
Right. Right.
And Josh is saying, give me some big dudes.
Right.
And I like it. Big, aggressive players that are not afraid to go up. Like the big thing about Keon that I love, honestly, is that he played basketball.
Oh, yes.
Because I think that's like the wrestling thing with Sean McDermott.
Yep.
But if you play basketball and you can see it in the athletic way that he goes up for contested balls. And that's the other thing that he's going to win.
Right, right. I like that as well. I do. When I see that, I was like, okay, I understand it. I understand the body frame. I understand how he when he was talking about it, how he precedes the whole the field itself. So
right.
I love it. I do. But I love the fact that he reached out to Andre Reed. And Andre Reed said that he's going to do everything in his power to feed into him. So I like that. I love the fact that, yeah, I like our guys reaching out
on his own.
Yeah, he said he did it on his own.
Somebody asked him why did you do that? And he was like, I love that question because he was like, are you kidding me? He's a Hall of Fame wide receiver. Why wouldn't I?
Right.
Essentially, I'm paraphrasing, but I think he was astounded that anybody would be surprised.
Yeah, why wouldn't I reach out to one of the guys that was in his
the greatest
organization?
Buffalo Bills wide receivers to ever wear the uniform. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Why wouldn't I do that? Like, you know what I'm saying? But because Shakir reached out to is working out with Eric Mose.
I know. I love that.
I do. I
love that
too.
Love that.
Yeah.
Because Shakir he's not going to surprise me or you, but he's going to surprise a lot of Bills fans because everybody that's whining about Stephon Diggs being gone, just sit back and wait and watch. Because Shakir, I watched him play at Boise State. So I've seen his development, and every year he improves. Every year. And he doesn't drop anything. He virtually catches everything thrown his way.
You were there with Josh Allen. You've seen the development of Josh Allen. I love this. You've seen what he potentially could be in the NFL. You've seen Shakir and what he could potentially be in the NFL. And last year, towards the tail end of the season, we all were like, Shakir, like, why didn't they use him in the beginning of the season? You know what I'm saying?
I do, because some of us were bitching about that, I mean, truly, because the kid he's waited for his chance. And if you notice, I think that there's more of a relationship between Shakir and Josh on a different level. Yeah. And he trusts Shakir because Shakir, like I said, he doesn't drop anything.
Yeah.
And he will
go up and get that ball.
Yes.
For the detriment. I'm just like, okay, don't catch the. Okay, you caught it, and now you're injured.
If a play breaks down,
yes,
he's on it.
Yes,
he got
a concussion because he went up from the. I think it was Shakir. He went up for the ball and caught it, and the guy hit him in the head, but he caught the ball. Yeah. So he will get it. He will definitely get it. So I really like Keon Coleman. I like the fact that he's reached out to Andre Reed. I like some of our wide receivers reaching out to our older, wide receivers that played. I find it interesting that you would do it, but I love that you do it because why wouldn't you? Like you said, why wouldn't I? But let's move forward because I didn't understand it, and then someone explained it to me why the Buffalo Bills is hiring John Perry, a former ref, to do what, right?
Right.
To explain replays, coaches' challenges. I mean, I like it. It's a new trend that's happening in the NFL, I guess. What's your
Well, they're
take?
setting the trend because no other team in the NFL has a referee on the payroll. My my con my confusion about the role is it sounds like he was at ESPN
Right.
doing their games and whatnot.
Now
So
they
when he
would go to him, right? Is he the
right?
guy that they would go to and say,
Yes,
so okay,
he's
gotcha.
the guy. He's the guy. He's done 2 Super Bowls, so he's got a pretty good resume in terms of
Oh,
being a ref. We got balloons. Ah, hi, balloons. I love it. This show is so awesome. I love you,
yes,
T.
it is. I love you too.
So, okay, what was I talking about?
He did the Super Bowl. He did 2 Super Bowls.
He did. Yes, he did. He did 2 Super Bowls, but I'm not really sure. Okay, so the obvious things that he's going to do. Okay, he's going to be up in the booth. He's going to have a direct line to
To
McDermott,
Sean. Yep.
and he's going to have the ability, and thankfully, because the one thing that has never been Sean McDermott's forte is
No
challenges.
challenges. He's like maybe the second to the last or the last
He
when it
has
comes
to
to
be because
challenges.
he.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I love that Brandon Bean did this, or Sean maybe brought it up, or
Yeah,
whatnot.
right.
Vision. But the thing is, that's what I think. That's where it's going to pay off the most. He's going to be up in the booth. He's going to be able to tell McDermott, yeah, go for it on 4th down, or don't go for it on 4th down, or this is what happened in this play and why they got called for holding, and all of that
Mhm.
stuff is going to be there and wonderful. My question is, and I hope they're going to do this since he's an employee of the Buffalo Bills, what I hope to see, and they often did this during the season last year, but I don't know who it was that they hired. But are they going to have him at practice? Please. Are they going to have him in the preseason games? Are they
Mhm.
going to have, is he going to have a role where on the field, when they're in practice, he has the ability to say, oh, you know what? Dwayne Carter, you're going to get nailed for holding if you do this.
Right.
So he's got a different set of eyes. He's
I
looking at
like
the
that.
game from a completely different perspective. And my hope is that he's going to be at practice, getting guys, kind of tuned in to
Mhm.
look at if you do this move, you're going to get called for X.
Well, because
So,
they're doing the whole what is the you can't tackle somebody the hip was the hip tackle or
oh, the
something
hip
like
check.
that. Yeah,
I
the
don't
hip
know.
checks.
That's hockey, but it might be the hip check in football too.
It's something. But I mean, he may talk about that as well because how are you going to? I don't think it's the fact of you doing it. It's how many times are you going to catch it? Right? Is it going to be consistent? Are you going to be
Right.
consistently calling this a penalty? But I mean, I like it. Anything to get an advantage on a team, I am for it. I like it. I didn't understand it when I first read it, and I was like, wait. So I listened to a pod, and I'm like, all right, I understand it, but then I want to run it. I want to run it by you, and see if
Oh, I love
understood
it.
it.
I
Okay.
absolutely love it. I think they're trend setting, and Bean and McDermott recognized, honestly, this was a deficiency in Sean McDermott's performance,
Mm-hmm.
persistent deficiency in
Yes,
his performance. And I'm sure he self scouted that.
absolutely. I
You
mean,
know,
because last year it was kind of better than to previous years because
was.
we would like throw the flag Sean, like
Yep.
it was just in his
Or
pocket, like
don't. Well, like, why
it
did
was
you throw that flag?
right, right. It was just cemented in his pocket, and you didn't throw it, and we're just like, bro, it's just like, oh, a side note. So I'm watching. My team is in the playoffs the Knicks is in the playoffs, and
Oh,
I am
oh, oh.
seeing more challenges in basketball. Now, I stepped away from basketball for a little bit because I'm more keen on football, but the challenges in
Mhm.
basketball now is just ridiculous. Robyn, when I tell you the flow of the basketball game now is just taken away from challenge, challenge, I'm like, what are we
How
doing
many,
here?
how many challenges do they get?
I don't know, but it stops the flow of the game. It's just for a fan, I hate it. I
It
hate it.
reminds me of hockey where somebody will score a goal and then they'll go back and review it and say, "Oh, it was offside. They were offside, so the goal doesn't count." And it's like, "Why are you doing this? It wrecks the
Yeah,
game.
it does.
If you didn't call that at the time when it happened, why are you calling it 2 minutes later when somebody scores? It's
Getting
dumb."
this, it is. And getting back on football, you remember the replays when the replays first
Yes,
came into we were just like, what are we doing? Why does a replay take so long? I remember a replay took at least 5 minutes.
that's crazy. That should
It's,
not be.
it's and I
It
think
should not be.
they had to shrink it because you're taking away, because you're giving the opportunity to a team when you do that.
Mhm.
You're wrecking the flow of the game when you have a replay for so
Completely.
long. So I mean, it was a side note. Just had to get
Completely. You're completely right about that, and
yeah.
I hope that by having this ref as a full I'm taking it as a full-time employee, that's gonna help take care of that problem for
Yeah,
Sean McDermott, because it
for
has
sure.
been a problem,
Yeah.
and I think it shows his maturity as a coach to be able
Mm-hmm.
to recognize, "Okay, this is just something I don't do very well."
Right, right.
And they come up with the idea of bringing in a ref. I think it's terrific.
Mm-hmm. I like it too. But we had some moves that happened earlier this week. We had Chase Claypool added to the roster. We had we're just going to say MVS from the Chiefs added on as well. He's one of those guys who could stretch the field, and he's can play outside, and he's another big guy. He is 6'3", 205. Love it. Another
I'm
6'3"
telling you,
guy.
this
There's a
is the
trend.
thing.
You're
It's
right.
the
There's a
trend
trend.
for the Bills. They want big ass wide receivers.
Yeah.
They do. Now, the Chase Claypool thing, I got to ask you because I want to know what your feeling is about bringing in a guy with his history.
History. um, when Chase Claypool just came out of college, I liked him. Um, the history, everything with him, not a locker guy, a lot of baggage, whatever. And I like to take a player for the now, right? Because
Hmm.
we said it like with Diggs.
Hmm.
I didn't judge Diggs when he came. I was with the player now. I wanted to
Hmm.
see how he was going to be with a new organization, new team. I don't know if Chase makes the team because we have a lot of wide receivers. And I'm not saying
Hmm.
it because of his attitude or nothing like that. I just don't know. I mean, and he's young. He's still, I think he's 24, 25. So
Right,
he's a
right,
young wide receiver. I just don't know
right.
why at 24 years old you're not on a team. So it has to be something more than just your ability to play. But
Oh, for
again,
sure.
I'm for the now. I don't know if he
Right.
makes the team because of all of the wide receivers we have on this team. If he does,
Mhm.
awesome. That means wants to put his head down and
He has talent.
he does. So that's why I'm like, if he makes the team, is him saying to himself, "This is my last hurrah. Let
Exactly.
me
That's what I was gonna say.
put my head down and work." So that's
It's
my take
kind
on
of
it.
as we call it, a low risk, high reward
Yes.
potential,
Mm-hmm.
right? So why not bring him in? Okay, if he's a locker room issue, you can identify that during training camp,
Oh
and
yeah.
off to Canada you go. But if
Your
this is
stripes.
yeah, if this is the way it's going to be, then you're not going to make the roster, and you'll go to Canada. But Scantling is at MVS. That's a very interesting pickup.
It
And you're
is.
right, it goes along. You're right about the size persistency. We're going to get big wide receivers. But interesting that he played for Kansas City.
2 rings. I mean, I get the fan base not liking the fact that every time we turn around, there's a Kansas City in our face. There's another Kansas City in our face. I mean, we got Mike Edwards, Kansas City safety. We have a wide receiver, a Kansas City wide receiver. I mean,
Yeah.
and he's getting paid with incentives. So if he catches the
Mhm.
ball, and we get it, he dropped passes. But when it comes to the Super Bowl, apparently he has hands. So I mean, listen, I don't know. I like it. I do. I do.
Well, it's a
Yeah.
1-year deal,
Yeah.
so that again makes that kind of low risk situation. I what I'm seeing when you go down those 12 people that you talk about being on the roster at the wide receiver position, there's a lot of competition.
Yeah.
This is going to be a very hard club to make if you're on the borderline.
I mean,
And
okay, we got Shakir, we got Coleman, we got Curtis Samuel, we got MVS, we got Chase Claypool, we got Matt Collins, Justin Shorter, he might be gone. We have Andy Isabella. We got Schaefer's. I think I pronounced it wrong. I'm sorry. We got Brian Thomas. We got Xavier Johnson. I like this
mhm,
Xavier Johnson. He's from Ohio State. I like him.
mhm.
Hopefully he's on a practice squad because I really do like him. So I mean we got 12, 13, 11, 12, I think is it. So
Yes,
we have a lot.
it's going
A
to be
lot.
hard. It's going to be hard to make the team, and that's a good thing. We're
Mm-hmm.
deep and
Yeah,
need to be deep. I'd rather
we
have a
do.
bunch of really good players than one elite player and mediocrity after that. So
Mm-hmm.
I think
For
this
sure.
is this is the wide receiver position almost reminds me, and this just blows my mind. But I've asked friends and people, have you ever seen a roster on the offensive line that was so deep? It's deep.
Yeah, it is deep. It's deep. Competition brings out competition with everybody, and the
Mhm.
Bills are known for competition. I don't
Yes.
care if you started last year. If you started last year and you showing me that you can't elevate your competition, you will sit. They don't
Mhm.
care. They don't care. It's like Osiris Torrance. You were great last year, but if there's somebody who just came in here and that was drafted, and you can't up your competition to meet where you need to meet when it comes to oh my God, Aaron Cromer, you're gonna sit, right?
I love
So
Aaron Cromer.
I do too.
He's
Oh my
got
God, I love him.
a good group of guys together,
And
and
he got his guys though. That's the
yes,
thing.
his
He
guys.
got his guys. And this wasn't on the docket, but I do love our offensive line. I
I
do.
do.
I
I'm
do.
with you. That
Yeah.
I completely. That's why I said it's like I'm looking at this team and I'm going, this offensive line is deep.
I
Has
cannot
a
wait to go to
lot of
training
talent.
camp. I can't wait to
Has
go
a
to
lot of
training camp.
talent, and you
Yeah.
need that to go through the whole season. The fact that we went through the whole season last year without any
Oh,
injuries on our offensive line is staggering.
knock
So,
on wood. I mean,
knock
it might
on
not
wood.
happen again, but the fact that we do have depth is going to be crucial. It's
Yep.
going to be because you're going
Yep.
to need it. But speaking of depth, speaking of competition, speaking of all of that, this is time for the schedule.
Everybody waited
Yes.
for it like it was the
Oh my
biggest
God.
thing.
I
I
was
know.
like, okay, guys, it's a schedule. I mean, we know who we're playing.
Schedule. We'll
We
figure
just
it
don't
out.
know where we're going to play at. But I get it for people who
Make
need to
plans.
make plans. I get it. LeSean, which is so funny. I was in space yesterday with LeSean, and LeSean was booking and stuff. I'm booked for Miami. I'm booked for. I was
Oh my
like,
gosh.
his hotels are booked. I was just like, this is great. I love talking with him because he's just a ball of energy and a ball of the
Yes.
Buffalo Bills in one. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
I do.
But the schedule came out, and of course we're first place, so we got the first place schedule. You didn't think it was going to be easy, I hope. So looking at the schedule, glancing at it, I'm glad we had no Thanksgiving and no Christmas. Thank you, and thank you.
No kidding.
What was your first
The thing
glare when
that
you looked at
struck
it?
me at first was like the home opener against the Arizona Cardinals. That's just they
Yeah.
don't play that often
Yeah.
in Buffalo. It just was like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna open against Arizona." And then the other thing is
Right.
the very end of the
I don't like
schedule.
it. I don't like the end.
You don't?
I
I was gonna ask
don't like
you.
it because I don't like New
All
England and
those
do New England
divisional games,
again. Come on. You're like, I mean, the in between was all right, but I mean, why did you do that to us?
3 AFC East games in 3 weeks.
That's and then that last one is to be announced. It's
That's when it over the holidays, when they try to decide. Uh, Here's the other thing that I noticed when I looked at the schedule is there's going to be lots of seesawing in terms of travel when you're home against the Titans and then you have to go to Seattle and then come back and be
mm,
home against the Dolphins and then go to Indianapolis and then home against KC. Uh, that's a fair amount of traveling. Then the bye week is late, like it was last year, which I
a lot
think
of
is
people love
like
that. I'm about to say a lot of people do like the fact that the bye week is there. And first glance, when I looked at the schedule, I was like, oh, I don't like the bye week that late. But then I was like, wait a minute. We kind of need that because we're
you got
going
players.
against the 49ers and it's late. And who's to say we may need resting players, right? Or
Mhm.
injured players, and they might need to rest. But I found it interesting that before we got into the bye, we played the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Coming out of the bye, we played a Super Bowl team. So it's just like, I
I
get
hadn't
it.
thought about that. That's true.
Yeah, I get it.
Mhm.
But I do like it. I like the fact that we are playing at 4:25 on CBS when it comes to the Chiefs. And they weren't going to give that up. CBS is not giving that time slot. That's ours. That's what they said. That is ours. We're claiming
That's a
it.
must watch. If you're a football fan, I don't care what team you
Oh
root
yeah.
for.
And it's standalone. I mean, it's standalone, but it doesn't stand alone, but it stands alone. Because, I
It's like
mean,
the old days when Peyton Manning was playing against Tom Brady.
right, right.
It's the same kind of thing. The quarterbacks, they're not on the field at the same time, but they're wanting to outperform each other
Absolutely.
on the field. You
Absolutely.
know that Patrick Mahomes and Josh have a thing.
Yeah.
That
It's just like
that they love playing
each other. Oh,
against
absolutely. They're competitors,
competitive. They
right? They're
are.
very competitive. So it's like Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes. Same
Mhm.
difference. Because
Right.
Joe Burrow have beat Patrick Mahomes, so Patrick Mahomes wants his lick back. So
Yes.
yeah, for sure. But Buffalo Bills have 7 1 o'clock games, and 5 of them are in Buffalo. We're no longer a team at 1 o'clock, Robyn.
I know. I
But we
love
got
the
7.
1 o'clock
But we got
games, but
7.
I'm old. The old folks like me like the earlier the earlier games. Prime time at games, I can't go to sleep afterwards because I'm still so
Yeah.
wound up
And
and
it could be win or loss. I'm up. If
I'm
it's a
up.
loss, I might be up longer.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if yeah.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on how we lose a game, how long I stay up.
Mm, mm, mm.
Yeah. But I mean, to be quite honest with you, I'm okay with the schedule. I know at the beginning of it, it's top heavy. It's very, very, very top heavy.
It is.
But me and Robyn, we've never done this, so please don't ask to do it. We're not going to do any predictions unless Robyn wants to.
Hell no.
I really hate to do it. I mean, I will do
I
it
won't.
if I'm
Too
pressed
many
to it, but
variables. It's dumb.
I don't like to do it. I don't. But everybody got
No,
us
it's an
only winning 10
exercise in
games.
futility.
Yeah. I mean, some people I've seen got us winning 10 games. Some people got us winning 9. I'm like, God, y'all, really? Okay, y'all really hate us, but cool. It's good. Whatever.
Whatever.
The preseason only 3 games, which I can't wait till it's only 1, but we got 3. We're playing the Bears at home. Yes, the
Yes.
Bears at home at 1. We're playing the Steelers at 7 o'clock, and then we're playing the Panthers. And we all seem like we always play the Panthers,
In the
don't we?
preseason, always.
Yeah,
That was Josh
and
Allen's first game as a rookie in the preseason. I was there.
yeah. Oh,
You bet-
okay.
I came back for a preseason game. People just flipped out about that. You came all the way from Wyoming for a preseason football game. It was
Yeah,
Josh Allen.
yeah,
And I wanted to see him. And he looked so good in that game. That first
yeah.
pass he tried to throw to Robert Foster. I was like, this guy's he's gonna be just fine.
Yeah,
He's
he's
gonna be
and
fine.
he is. And for everyone who's saying that Josh Allen doesn't work out on the offseason, can y'all just go away? Because he does. He just, if you know Josh Allen and if you follow Josh Allen's career up until now, Josh Allen doesn't really do social media. So just note he is working out.
He
Okay?
does not do social media, nor
He
should
doesn't.
he.
He doesn't have
And
to. And I don't care if he does. I don't care, guys.
I'm glad that he doesn't.
Yeah, you
I'm
know
glad
what I wanted I wanted to ask you. So it's been kind of a relief, right? And you know what I'm talking about.
I
It's
do.
kind of been a kind of relief of, what did he say? What did you think he said? He said that? What do you think he's saying? I'm so happy we're not dealing with it. And no offense to him. And I don't even like they bring his name. I'm just like, guys, can we just move on? I don't really care. He's not on our team anymore. Let's just move on.
Let's go.
But let's talk about what Bookie Brooks had to say about
Bucky.
Bucky, my Bucky. And I'm looking at it.
Bucky.
Bucky Brooks had to say about the personnel changing up and how it's going to a more heavier personnel this upcoming season.
Yes, indeed. And I thought it was very interesting when he talked about 12 personnel and the 2 wide receiver, 2 tight end, 1 running back tendency
Mm-hmm.
that we're seeing. So again, I'm going to go back to what we talked about earlier. Don't you find it interesting that it's like they just keep on bringing in bigger guys?
Yeah. Guys that can block, guys that with big bodies, guys that like we got 2 tight ends, 2 good tight ends, Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox. And everybody was like, well, Dalton Kincaid come in, that means Dawson Knox are out. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I mean, they paid Dawson Knox a nice little contract. So I think he's going to be here for maybe 2 more years. I don't know. But I like it. 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, 1 running back. I like it. The 12 personnel we tried to run with Ken Dorsey, that never took off.
I think, and this is just my completely uneducated opinion, but I think with Ken Dorsey, the problem was he never allowed the running backs to get into a flow.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah, they have to
and
be, they have to get on the field and at least be in a drive, right? You can't take them out 2 plays later and then put them in. And I think that was a big reason why the 12 personnel didn't work. Plus,
mm-hmm.
now, I mean, seriously, think about it. Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox. Hi, Sandra.
Hi, Sandra.
Love
Thank you for
you.
joining this podcast. Normally
Yeah.
Sandra is on with me and Mike. So
Oh, really?
you found this one. This is the one I do in the morning before Mike. So thank you for tuning in, Sandra. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Sandra. I'm glad to meet you.
She's cool.
Yes, I like it. Check in with
Yes.
us.
Yes, we're going to be dropping every other week. So when Mike and I are doing it, just note me and Robyn are doing ours prior to that one. But thank you for tuning in. But yeah, I do like this offense going to be different, right? I think, but also too, I do like the fact that when we put another wide receiver in, like our 3 wide receivers, like I like that 11 personnel. I like that as well. The fast
Especially
offense,
if the
I
3
like
wide
it.
receivers are big, right?
Yeah. I mean, I get why people are concerned about our offense. We took away one of the primary wide receivers, right? I get that towards the end of his career with the Buffalo Bills. I'm not saying his career has ended with the Buffalo Bills. It was lax, to say the least. But his first 3 years were great.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. I get why some people are concerned, but I think there's going to be a group, a gathering, a bunch, not the Smurfs, but these big guys. It might be a combination of Shakir, of Coleman, of Samuel, of Kincaid. It might be just like a group.
I just can't wait to see it. I think this
Yeah.
offense is going to be so much better than people think.
But
I
also too,
do.
Robin, what I also think this too, I think the fact that when Josh don't have to key on someone, right? I get Diggs helped them out in a lot of different ways. I understood
Yes,
that.
he did.
Diggs pulled the safeties. I get that. That double coverage. I get that too. He was bracketed. I understand that. But having your quarterback satisfy one player all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
It could be a lot. So when you can spread the ball around, I think it
Right.
would be beneficial for Josh and maybe this team. I'm open anyway. I'm open.
Yes, and don't forget, I'm looking at that center position that might be changing because we have a draft pick that could be playing center at the beginning of the season, who
Mhm.
also played for Georgia when James Cook was running.
Now, right now, if he beats out Connor McGovern, right?
Hmm.
If he beats out Connor McGovern, I mean, he could still swing over there next to Dion. If he,
Absolutely.
because I mean, he was good, he was okay on that side.
Hmm.
Now, if he doesn't beat out, who's over there? Oh my God, I got to write these guys down next
David
to Dion.
Edwards, I think.
David Edwards. If he beats out Edwards, then great, he slides right back in there. Now, if he doesn't, then he doesn't, and he sits behind. So we will see. The competition
I
is going to
know,
be
but
great.
it's like high class competition, and I'm
Yeah.
loving it because how many years did we watch the Bills when they had nothing on their offensive line? Lots
No,
of
when
years.
they had he could fit, I guess. I mean, it's not going to really change anything. Like we went from that to Osiris Torrance and Deion Dawkins and this line being good, right? It just only took us
Oh,
10. It only took us 10 years. Look,
what's the rush?
I mean, good old
What's the
day.
rush?
When you got a quarterback like Josh, you can no, but we don't need him to be running around in the back. I want Josh to sit back like he did. And this game always comes out when I think about Josh and his breakout moment. That Dallas game when he was sitting in a pocket, Robin. He was bouncing for a minute, then he stopped bouncing and he was just looking and looking. And I'm like, is this man just standing flat footed
Yes.
and surveying the freaking field
Yes.
right now?
Yes. I remember that play. It's etched
What?
in my mind forever.
Right. What is going on? What is
What
going
is going
on?
on with some awesome offensive line
Yeah.
performance? I'm glad Brady understands it's a team. Diggs was wanted the
Yeah.
ball and not always That's right, Sandra. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Woof, yeah.
I'm just glad. I just can't wait to see what Brady is going to do. Joe Brady is going to do what Kincaid for one, because we don't know what's that going to look like. We have
Right.
no idea. I can't wait for Coleman. I can't wait how the field's going to be stretched. I just
The
I can't
offense
wait.
is looking, I think, mighty fine. Lots
Yeah.
of people can say whatever they want. Give it a few weeks, though,
Yeah.
right? It's going to take at the very beginning of the season. This offensive line is going to need a little bit of time to
Mm-hmm.
kind of find their groove.
For
So
sure.
we have to be patient. And I think that maybe it's a good thing that the helm opener is against a non-conference team.
Yeah,
But
I was looking at that too, and I was like, I'm kind of glad. Let's be honest, they didn't do us any justice last year when it came to our freaking schedule, right? Looked at that as well, and I was like, okay, thank God we don't have a away game in another country. Thank you,
right.
Jesus, thank you. But and then we had so many different injuries in that one game against the Jags, which the Jags are coming to us. Thank you again. But they always play us tough. That's gonna be one of those tough games.
The schedule's
Um
a bitch.
yeah. yes.
You
Yes,
know,
Robin.
I mean, it's a bitch. It's going to
Yeah.
be bitch. You never know ahead of time, but it looks like it's going to be a bitch. But
It
that
is.
might be good because this team rises to the occasion,
They do.
and we want them to be playing at a high level when they go into
Because
the
it's just gonna make you better. Like, okay,
yes,
speaking of what you said, right? We have Jacksonville, we have the Ravens, we have
Detroit.
Houston. We have no, this is just the back to back. So the
Oh,
back to
oh,
back
oh,
games,
yeah,
we
yeah,
have the
yeah.
Jags, the Ravens, we
Ooh,
have Houston,
Texans.
we have New York Jets, and
And
then
the
we
second Monday
have
night football. Isn't that a Monday night football game?
three of them. So Miami is first, which is the 12th. We have that's a main game. That's the Jags is a main game. The Ravens is a main game, and Houston is not. I think Houston's at one. I can't. Let me bring it up. If I can bring it up. Can I bring it up? I can't bring it up. Jesus, I can't bring it up. But I think I think
Yes.
Houston's a 1 o'clock game. But they got back to back to back to back big games.
Big games. Big
So
games. Big
yeah,
games.
I mean they're just gonna have to be on their A game.
They're
That's
going to have
it.
to come out rolling.
If you're
They're
saying that you are the top of this division and people should recognize you, then you need to come out here and show them why.
yes.
You know,
And
that's
let's
it.
not go 6-6, okay? Let's
Yeah, let's not give me and us fans one of those. What are we
a heart
doing? Oh my
attack.
God!
They have to
Come
win 5
on!
games in a row, and they do it.
And
It's like
they did it. They did it. So,
it could have
but
been.
man, it was felt good talking to you about our team again
I
and
love
what's
talking
going
to you.
on. Yes, for sure.
And I'm just going to say this. I
Yep.
want to publicly thank you because you have been instrumental in
Oh,
in helping me grow, and I appreciate you so much,
I
and
appreciate you.
thank
You
you.
know, like I always say, when I wanted to do a different pod, I wanted to do it with another female with me, and you were instantly the person that I thought about when I was speaking to my wife, and I said I want to do a pod with women are just talking, and I was like, I want to ask Robyn, and she was like, well, why don't you? I was like, I don't know. She's like, well, the least the worst thing she could say is no, and I was like, you know what, you're
Hell
right.
yes! I was like, let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
so
get this thing going. And it has opened up, I just have to say, a relationship and a friendship that means so much to me.
yes,
Your family is my family,
yes,
and I appreciate you so much.
I
So
appreciate you
there.
too. Yeah, you know how I love compliments. No,
I
I don't.
know. I'm going to make you. That's what my goal is. Make you
I
deal with
know,
that
I know.
stuff.
It's
Okay.
all good.
So
But
we will be in 2 weeks, right? When are we meeting
yes,
again?
we
Let's see.
are. I don't even have my thing on me. So
Um,
we are back here the 30th,
that would be
right?
correct. That would be right
Yep.
before Memorial Weekend. Cool.
Yes, 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 yes. So
Cool.
we are back. So tune in, guys. Again, we are back, like we said, every other week. And listen, we're gonna make it move how it moves. It's the off season, but we got plenty to talk about.
We
We
do.
have plenty to talk about. But for today, though, we are out of here. We are done. Oh, Sandra had something to say here.
I love listening to all the pods yesterday. I was stir crazy because they had too many of them concerning the schedule. I saw
It
that.
was a lot. It was a
I
lot.
was like,
I
oh my
couldn't
God.
do
I
it.
hope we
Couldn't
don't
do it.
talk about it for too long because everybody beat it to death.
I couldn't
Thank
do
you,
it.
Sandra.
Thank you, Sandra. I wanted to hit the schedule and then move away from it. Did you see how we arranged it? We talked about something
Yes,
else and then we hit the schedule. But I mean, we can only talk so much about the schedule and do so much about it.
really. So
So,
thank
we
you,
didn't.
Sandra.
Yeah, I appreciate it. But for right now, we are out of here. This is Tea Time with Robyn, and she is Robyn. I am T, and it's always
Go
go
Bills.
Bills. Peace, y'all.
Peace out.